Hey, Denzel here. So in this one, we'll be creating this really cool pen tray design. I have included all the mistakes that I've made. I try not to edit too much. We'll be modeling. I'll be showing you how to create all those textures, nice plastic textures, and of course modeling even the paper clips, and of course lighten it as well, so that you see could look at the end of it something like this. All right, so sit back and enjoy this tutorial for beginners. Alright, so we're going to start from a fresh Blender scene. So if you're a beginner, you could follow along very easily. The first thing I do is look at some references. Let me pull up the reference that I was looking at. It's found on Yanko Design. I was going through this and I thought this was something really simple to model. Actually, it looks a lot easier than it is, especially if you're beginner. So what am I looking for here? Well, I'm looking for a nice camera angle that I could set up in Blender. Right, so I love this one. This is a camera angle I was going with, but then I decided to go with this one. All right, and this is also looking for images that you could take and that you could reference as well. So I'm looking for like a top photo, a top down photo, and I think I found this one, but this other one here. So although it's a bit sideways, I could just twist it in Blender. All right, so I will use this as a top down image and then look at the other images references as well for some of the other details. All right, so we're going with this camera angle. So back into Blender now, what I'll do, let me just drag this out from here, and in camera view I'll select the camera and press 0 for camera view. And matter of fact, let me change just one time, change this to like 200. That's usually the default. What I change it to, the default focal length that I change it to. All right, and let's now change this. Press N, and I have it as a shortcut, but we're going to change the camera, lock the camera to view, so that we could be able to change it while here. So if I scroll, the camera will move, as you notice. All right, I have it as a shortcut here. Just press Q, so you could click on this. Where is it? Sorry, yes, N. You could click on this, right click and add to favorites, right? So that you could simply just scroll out, and as you move, you see, you'll notice the camera is moving there. Yeah, you could move it as you like. All right, let me press 1 on the number pad, and I want the camera. Where's the camera? Oh, it's quite out here. Let me scroll in. I want the camera like on this side. Right, so I'm looking for a nice angle here, and this here, the output properties. Now I have set this. I have some presets here. I have this one called YouTube, which is 2560 by 1440. Actually, this is 50%, which would be what YouTube recommends. And nevertheless, 100% is this whole thing. 50% is obviously half of this, right? So let's keep it at 50% for now. That's like for test rendering. So you could be able to quickly render out something without having to wait too long. All right. So let's set it up somewhere like about there. All right. Good. Now we're going to get rid of the cube. Let me turn off this for lock camera to you. Don't forget to turn that off, and turn the passepartout off as well. With the camera selected. Where is it? Report display passepartout to 1. Right. All right. So drag this across for now. Let's get rid of that cube. Now we're going to start. Let's bring in our reference image. Shift A, our image reference. And where's it? Right, this one I was talking about, the top view, right? As I add this in, it's a bit sideways. So I just simply rotated it, right? And let's turn on the opacity. Come across here to object properties. And turn on opacity and just turn this down. All right. And I just try to line, actually I press G, Y, and try to line it up so that it will be, so I could see how straight it is, right? I measure it up there with the red line. I know, okay, it's pretty straight. All right. And now I could press G, Y, and put it back up, somewhere to the middle, right? When it's in the middle of these two. All right, somewhere there. Good. And then I could lock this. So turn on filters, enable that is selectable, and just oh, so it's not selectable anymore. I can't select it by mistake. All right, and what we want is like a reference to know what is the size we're going to what size we're going to start with. This obviously is really big, the image. We most likely will have to scale it down. So let me import a pen. So this pen model is from Blender Kit. If you don't have this, you simply go to your preferences and go to add-ons, and you'll see type in Blender Kit, and just log in online. And mine is not logged in, but I'm still able to search. When you go, you just enable it and then log in. All right. So just click on here. I just type pen, and I think I selected. Actually, I filtered it for free first to give me the free selections first. I think this one. This is the one I went with. So once you click it, it will automatically download into the scene. Right? Just wait a bit, and I think it's there. It's there, but it's so tiny. It's here. So if I press the period key on the numpad, it will zoom into it. Right? The reason I did that is so that you'll see this is scaled correctly. This pen from Blender Kit. So that means the image has to be scaled to match this. So this pen. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to rotate the pen like this, just roughly like that, and then I'm going to scale the image now. So make it selectable again. Just scale the image until bring the pen back down. All right, scale the image until it fits. Just that. Right, so we get in there. Good. So those have to be exact, but that's more like it. So we can hide this for now. So we start modeling now because we know that it's scaled correctly, the image, because it's scaled according to this pen, right? All right. So we're going to start off here with using a circle. So let's press Shift A and add a mesh. Let's create a mesh collection. Press on scene collection, press C and double click it and type in pen tray. Just name it one time. So with pen tray selected, press Shift A, add a mesh circle. Alright, and then tool up this menu and we switch it to 24. Right? So tap into edit mode now and press S to scale, and let's scale this down. And I want to match this up with the side here. Right? But what I want to do, see this flat side like I want it here. But for it to be exact, because this is 24 vertices, what I do is just divide it. So like pull out the calculator, and 360 is a circle, right? 360 divided by 24 is 15. So this is 15 degrees in between those vertices. But I want in between that, so I have to divide this by 2, which is 7.5. So what I'm doing is going to rotate this now. I'm going to press R and rotate this by 7.5. See? And now it's exactly there in the middle. Because I want, I didn't want this edge to be here, this vertex to be here. I wanted the edge to be here instead. I hope that was clear. All right. And let me scale up a bit because I want to match. Just that. The reason I'm doing that, the reason I did 24, I did it before, is so that as soon as it reaches this edge where it straightens up, this is what I want. So that when I could select this, you see, and press G, see that? And move across to the other side. All right, so far it's good. Let me press A and just scale it up just a little bit again. All right, and just make sure and put it in place. All right, and GX across there. Okay, so we'll work with that. Now just select this here, press GX and move this across here just to match that other side. All right, GX. Right. So far so good. And now in the middle we need some vertices here, because what we're going to do, we're going to grid fill this. Because if I press A, because only vertices here and here, and press Control F grid fill, then it's too spaced out because there are only vertices on either side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a few in between here. So Control R, and let's add about 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? And I'll use an odd number because I want one down the middle. Let's do it again. Control R to the bottom here and scroll until you get a 7, 8, 9. Right? So now when we press A to select everything, Control F, grid fill, and all right, so 12 and 0 worked in my case. And if I turn on simple bending, great. Press Alt A to deselect. Right. I turn on simple bending so it will be further away, so it won't be too close there, right? Now press 3, face select, or go up here and click on this. Select A to select everything. And what we're doing, we're going to press I to inset just a little bit. And the reason why we're doing this, let me show you. I press C and go to wireframe. You notice, let me turn off this for now. This edge here, it's good to set ourselves up nicely for that before, so we won't have to create it after. And also it will create holding edges when we continue in modeling. You see what I mean? So let's do it again. Press A, tab into edit mode, and press I with face select. Press I and just about there. Right? Now this is already done, meaning just the outer shell is done. If you'll notice, let me turn on the empty, increase the opacity a bit. You notice there are some circles in between there, these knobs. So this is what we're going to create now. So we started with this. We're going to create these circles within that. Right? How do we do that? Easily. We're going to actually use these faces here to create that circle. So let me go and press Alt Z. Right. This is for Alt Z is for X-ray. And let me select, I don't want to go too close to this is the middle, not too close to the middle here, but I want to start like from about here. So let's select about, let's see, 1, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. All right. Now if I press, if I have loop tools enabled, if you don't have it, preferences, add-ons, just type in loop. Right. So loop tools, and make sure that is enabled. Right. With loop tools enabled, you just, with those faces selected, just right click, loop tools, circle, easy. And so now what we do is just line this up. If you can't see too clearly, turn the opacity up a little bit on the empty. Can't see it. All right. So just pressing G, and I'm moving this. You notice I'm moving it. This is the circle here. I'm just moving it until it reaches, until it fills that circle there. Right. So if it's too big, we just press S to scale. And if it is that we scale in towards the cursor, that means we have it set to that. So we just have to change it here. Make sure it's set to individual origins or median point. We can just press full stop. You get those options. So we don't want it to switch to the 3D cursor. Otherwise, when you press S, see, it'll scale towards the cursor. So you want to set it to individual origins. So it scales within itself. So just about there seems to be fine. And then what we do now, we press X and delete only faces. All right. So there we have our circle. All right. We could even adjust this some more if we want it to be more accurate, right? Over there. So that's fine. And we want the same thing now on the other side. So instead of having to recreate that and do the same thing, we just delete these. Right, so delete this half and then create a mirror modifier. So X, delete vertices. And then because it's in the middle, we go to the modifiers, add modifier, and generate a mirror. And turn on clipping. If it's not joined, it's easy. Here what to do. Make sure we're in edit mode. Alt left click this edge and make sure clipping is enabled. If I turn off clipping, I just press G and X, it wouldn't clip. If I turn on clipping, I press GX, it will stick right there. Right? That's what to do. And we simply now tab out of edit mode and and then apply the modifier. Why is that there? Well, because I deleted only faces. It still has these vertices. I want to know what's that. All right, so just delete those vertices in the middle there. All right, X, delete vertices. And press A, M, merge by distance, just to make sure that we don't have any overlapping vertices. It's a good time to save. So press Ctrl S and we name this Pentray Blend tutorial. Good. All right. So right away we already have our the base shape and the circles there. Right. So we're going to finish up this and then we go into the knobs. So remember we already created that inset here. So we're going to extrude this, because if we go to our reference image, you'll notice that it's extruded just a little bit up there. And then we're going to add a subdivision surface modifier to make everything look nice and smooth. All right, so we're going to take that edge on the outside and just lift it up. All right, so press 3 or go up here and click here, and Alt left click here, and if I press E, easy, you'll be able to extrude that just over there. We could just eyeball it. All right, and that is the outside, I should say the top of it there. If you're wondering how we're going to get the rest, let me turn off this. How are we going to affect the rest? How are we going to get the bottom? Easy, we could simply press 2, edge mode, Alt left click this here, just press GZ, bring it down, and you know we'll always Control F and grid fill that. Right? All right. If let's put a bevel on these and see what happens if we press subsurf modifier. If we enable subsurf, so press 2 for edge mode, Alt left click here, Alt left click here as well, because we want to bevel these two, but we want to do it differently so we can adjust it afterwards. So click on the modifier, bevel. Oh, sorry. First of all, click N when these are highlighted. Click N, and in the item menu, just turn this edges data, the bevel weight, all the way to 1, and it turns blue. Now when we add a modifier, bevel modifier, it'll bevel everything, but we just want these two edges beveled. So we change the limit method to weight, because that's what we adjusted just on the bevel weight. All right, and then of course this is too large, so put it to like 0.0005, and then about 3 segments. All right, and in shading we turn on add normals, but that's because, let me see if that's because we don't have more supporting edges here. That's for another topic, another day. Nevertheless, just turn on harden normals in this case, and let's try a subsurf modifier and see what happens. So we could generate subsurf modifier. All right, right click, shade smooth, Control S, and so far so good. You know, the bottom there did that because, you know what, let's remove that for now and we'll focus on that afterwards. Don't really want that bottom piece to be distracting us, right? What I did just now there, I left click and in face select, left click here, and then control shift and left click down here like diagonally. It selects the whole thing, and X, and delete faces. Not only faces. We did the wrong thing just now. All right, and now we can turn back out our subsurf. Yes, it looks pretty much, that look pretty much already like our reference image, not so? Yeah, pretty much like that, with a nice little curve there. All right, so we get in somewhere, and of course we could increase this, right, to make it a lot smoother. I set it to 3 for the render. All right, so far so good. Let's see our reference image. Yes, looks pretty much just like our reference image. All right, mind you, we could always adjust this because if I turn this off, sorry, we could see, we could press 2 for edge mode, Alt left click, Alt left click, Alt shift left click, Alt shift left click, and Alt shift left click to get the whole ring there. And we could always double tap G double tap G to adjust that nice curve there. If I turn it on, you'll see what's happening. The double tap G, see that? Adjusting the curve. Alright, but let's see if I adjust it like maybe like that. Yeah. Alright, let's leave that for now. Let's focus now on the two knobs in the middle there. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I want to get the exact middle of this circle here. So to do that, let's turn off this for now. Turn off both of them. I'm gonna press 1 or even 2 for edge mode and Alt left click this. And I want the cursor to be directly in the middle there. We're gonna press Shift S, cursor to selected. So that's what's selected, the cursor is going to be there. So whatever I add is going to be dropped right there. Press 7 for top view. And I'm going to press tab out of edit mode because we want to create another object. If we do this while in edit mode, this will be added to this object. Alright, so tab out of edit mode to create a separate object. Let me rename this one time. Press F2 and name this pen tray. And now the object we're going to add, we're going to call it knob. So Shift A and add a mesh circle. But this time, change it to 32. Alright. Tab out of edit mode. Tab into edit mode, sorry. Press 1 or click on this for vertex. Select and scale down till you reach about there. Alright, just about there. Alright, and we're gonna press Ctrl F and grid fill as well. And let's make this straight because it's a little twisted. To turn off simple bending, yes. Or turn it on. Should we? Let's leave it on for now and just make this straight. Good. Alright. And then in face select. Let me see what I'm doing. Alt Z to see. I don't like this too wide here, so let me make it a little more even. So Control F, grid fill, and let's use offset 1. Let's see, 8. All right. Turn on simple. Okay, so turn on simple bending. I have it set to that, so it's not too big of spaces inside on the outside there. We will use that. What we're going to do actually, let me show you. We go to our reference image. What we're going to do is, let me turn off this. We're going to create this. We already created the circle, but we're going to create this detail here. All right. And so let's look at how we're going to create that detail. So I could turn off the tray for now. Let's focus on just the circle. Right. Press Alt Z to see. Sorry. We could use this button as well to go into wireframe or X-ray. Right, so I'm into X-ray now. So what I'm going to do, I'm press 3 for face select, 3 here, and I'm going to select these middle edges here, these middle faces. Sorry. All right, and I'm going to inset it first. And then press X and delete those faces. All right. Right, so this is what you should have. Let's go into vertex select now. Select these, and we're going to scale it on the Y. See the green there? S Y. Going to scale it down there. Right, and you can already see what I'm doing. Right, and then these here on the outside. These here, we're gonna press GX. You know what? We could select these two and press SX. No, let's do it one at a time. Could we? If we bounding box, let's see. Yes, SX, and we could scale them out just a bit. Right, and then we could select these two. I'll show you after what we'll do with that. We could take these edges here, these vertices. Shift select that one. And SX, let's select these two here, sorry, and these two, and SX. Good. Now, what thing happen when we add a subsurf modifier? Let's see. Generate subdivision surface. You get some nice curves there. Let's turn the resolution to 3. But it's sort of like it's a little bullet tip. It's not quite like what it has there. We want a nice, want it to be straight here, a nice curve just to the edge there. So what we could do to tighten up that, select these here and press GX. See that? Tighten up that. Let's do it symmetrically. So let's do it too. And press SX to scale the both of them same way. All right, and I think it's a little slimmer. So select all the vertices there. Press SY. Just scale it down just a bit there. Right? And is it even a little further down? So if I GY, let's be more in the center. Yes. Let's see. Oh, notice. Yeah. All right. This is a bit too close to the edge. So let's bring this back down. Bring these edges back down. So SX. Bring that in a little bit. All right. So not too close. And we try to even this out a little bit so we'll be too far from each other. All right. All right. So what we should have there, we turn off the reference image. That's some nice circles. And now if it is that we like the inside, Alt left click and press E and Z. See that? We could raise it up and then we could press Control F, grid fill. And this grid fill now, we want to make it nice and even, just like before. So that should do. Turn off simple bending. Yes, turn off simple bending. This case, right? And then while still selected, press I and just inset it a bit, right? If it's still too much of a tip, then we select these here, make GX. That once we do that, we make sure it's sharpened up to the edge there, and even these here, just turn it back down a little bit, right? Let's do it symmetrically. So let's take this, these outside here, and we're gonna press SX. All right, and then we're gonna take these here, and you press SX and scale it in a bit. Good. Really nice. Is it a bit too high? Maybe. If it's too high, we wanna bring it down. Press 1 for front view. Press Alt Z to go into wireframe to select all the top there. Let's press GZ and bring it down just a bit if you think it's too high. Alright? Alt Z to undo that. And if this happens when we zoom in, just press N and go to view and change the clip start to 0.001. See that? And then that doesn't happen again. Don't forget to right click and shade smooth. And looking good. What I noticed is that in the reference image, this is a bit sharp. You notice that the tip there, the tip is a bit sharp. But in our model, this is sort of smooth. To get it more sharp, all we need to do is press Control R around here, Control R. Just tighten it up a bit there. See that? Just tighten it up there. A lot sharper to the top. Yeah. And we could even, double tap G and move it up even more. Get a lot more sharper. Yeah. I didn't try press increase. Let me try increasing it. So press 2 for edge mode and Alt left click and let's press SE1. Let's see that. Yeah, that crease works. Yeah, works nice. Is it that sharp? Is it not that sharp? Not that sharp. If I turn this off, Alt left click and Control X, no, it needs a support. So Control Z to undo that. Let's see if I double tap G. Okay, so I double tap G. Right, so it's not that sharp. It's still sharp, but not that sharp. But I like how it looks though. If it's too sharp, then we simply adjust that. But let me look at the reference again. Let me look at the reference. Let me see. Looks pretty sharp to me. I don't think it's too sharp. I think the closest one we have is this one, right? This one is the closest one we have. If we think it's too sharp, we turn off this. Alt left click, press SE -1, turn off, and we simply Alt left click this Double tap G and move it up as close as we could. Yeah, I think that will work. All right. So I think we have our knob there created. Let's turn back on the pen tray. And let's look at the pen tray, turn on the bevel and sub D for this. All right. And if you notice in the reference image, it's nice and close to the edge there. All right. So it's not that much of a gap. So let's alt left click on our edge. Make sure we have the whole circle selected, right? The whole edge of the circle. And then what we can do is press S to scale. Let's press S. Let's turn on this on cage. We'll see exactly how much a scale S. And scale it like about just about there. Yeah, nice and close. And while that's already enabled, what we could do is press E and Z to move it down. What we'll notice is that while we do that, it's already starting to get rounded. So we're going to fix that. So let's press slash, right? Slash to go into local view. And let's change that. Let's turn off the sub D for now. So you'll see what is happening. It's because these here, there's no supporting edges. So if it is that, press 7 for top view. An easy way to do this. So left click this one and then go across, Control Shift left click here to get the whole top there. Yes. And then Control plus plus. Right, so now when we press Control I, it should select everything else. So that's what we want. All right. And you know what? Let's move this for now. It's X, delete those vertices. Let's focus on this for now. Let's do that again. Left click this here and Control left click here. All right, and then Control plus plus, Control I to invert the selection. So first of all, make sure this is flat. So right click, loop tools, flatten, and then what we want to do now is inset this. Control minus. Okay, so I don't want this one. I to inset right. I'm leaving this holding edge there. So I to inset, that's about here. Very good. Now, when I alt left click the edge here and it's easy, see it has that holding edge there. And I could add another one, Control R, add another one here. So when I enable sub D now, see that? And if I want it tight, I could actually make it the same bevel, the bevel width as we come out of local view. Cautious, the same bevel width as this is here. So it will have the same bevel width, right? To do that, I'm going to local view again. To do that, what I will do is just press 2 for edge and Control X and delete that edge there, right? Let me turn off. I'll delete that. I will also, all right, so Alt left click here and press N, go to item and turn this bevel weight up as well too. And so now when I add, press N to get rid of that. When I add a bevel modifier, I will add it, change it to weight, all right, and at the same 0.005 and for 3 segments and put this above the sub D, and in that way turn on sub D. Is it too large still? Seems too large. Seems very large. So if I, yeah, because this is the 0.003. Okay, let's do the same thing with this and see if that makes a difference. 0.003. Go into local view again. I believe this edge here, mark. If I hold Alt left click and make sure I get the whole edge of that whole ring there, right? And if I Control X, all right. So why is that not being affected? All right, so let's press A to select everything. 1 for vertex. Let's press MS. Make sure we have no vertices, double vertices. There's none. And why is that? Oh, tab into edit mode. That is one. Check. I turn it off. Oh, I forgot to add one more zero. That's it. That's more like it. Good. So now I press N. Right. So that's perfect. That is perfect. All right. Okay, great. Great. So now what we do, if we want to mirror this across the other side, but if we just add a mirror modifier here, what will happen is that, well, it wouldn't mirror properly because it mirrors, there has to have a reference point for it to mirror. So I want to mirror it from the middle here. So when we created this, the 3D cursor was in the middle. If I press Shift S and cursor to world origin, right, now it will mirror, this will be the middle line. If I set this origin, object origin to 3D cursor, right, so now it will flip there. So when I add mirror modifier, see that? Go directly across it because this is the middle reference point. And let me pull this back up right to the top there. And I could immediately apply this. All right. And but I want this to be two separate. I know it's together. So press A to select key separate by loose paths. And so now I could, each of them, I could bring it object set origin to geometry. Click on this one, set object set to geometry. So each of them are separate. So I could name this one knob 1, right? Knob 1, and name this other one knob 2, right? Knob 2, right? And we have perfect, our perfect knobs. We have our really nice, really nice, really nice. And let's look at our view here. We go to the camera view and focal length 200. And let's zoom in a bit on this. So go to lock camera to view, right? And right. I like this view. The view that we're using is something like that. Right. Something like that. All right. Great. And then don't forget to turn off camera to view. Now mind you, how I'm framing is up here, where if you look at your frame here, this is just a bit to the, it's like to the right side of this grid. All right, a little bit to the right and a little bit to the bottom half of this grid. So I'm going to line my top very similarly. And maybe if you have a plane, it will be a lot clearer. So let me turn this off, turn off camera to view. So if I add, I can add a Shift A and add a plane, right? Right in there for, but so the plane is on the bottom, but now this is not to the bottom. So what I'm going to do, what I'll do, we turn off the plane. I want this to be sitting nice on top here, right? But I also want these to go with it to move in place. So what I will do, you know what? I'll do it one at a time. So I will put this, the origin point of this to the bottom. So here I'll do that. Tab into edit mode, Alt left click on this, and there's an add-on that I use, quick origin. Well, it's called interactive tools, and I could quickly put the origin point to where I selected. If I click interactive tools and quick origin, see it goes to that bottom point there. So now the origin point is at the bottom of the selection, and I could simply now press Shift S and the selection the cursor, and it will jump up there. These have not moved because I have to do the same thing here. So I'll quickly do it. So in this case, I want this though, the bottom of this, I want the top of this to line up. Remember, I want it line up like here. Is it off? It's a bit off now. That's okay. It'll be very easy to do that. Same thing. Hold left click and let's see. No, in this case, Shift S cursor to selected, right? And here, Shift S selection to cursor. See, all right, very easy, very easy. And I could we could also get it flush as well too. And to do that, we could make sure and press A, and here what to do. We go up here and we turn this snap into vertex. So press GZ and just press Control, and this is the point that we're gonna snap it to, right there. See? Yeah. Could we do the same? First of all, let's line it up in the middle. So click on this, Alt left click, Shift S, cursor to selected, and then with this now, Shift S, selection to cursor. We want it to be flush. A to select everything. Snapping is already on center vertex. GZ, snap it right there. Easy peasy. Alright, so we have everything lined up properly there. Now when we add our plane, right, so I was saying we add our plane and we could see everything a lot better. And what we could do is turn off these so everything will just be clear. We won't have any distractions. We could turn off all of that. All right, so this is our camera view. Let's go quickly into render view, see what we have. All right, so far so good. Looks really good. All right, that's what we have so far. And all right, so let's add those materials. Are we finished there? Yeah, basically we're finished. Let's add those materials now. It's pretty simple to add those materials. Let's go to material preview and switch this to the shader editor. And usually there's already a we remember we imported our pen, right? But there's a default material already there. We could use that. And the reason why it sends 2, because remember we deleted our cube. The cube already had this material. And nevertheless, let's change this to plastic. We name this glue plastic. Okay. And so we notice if we adjust that, what is the knob? But then we could give everything the same blue plastic, right? Give everything the same blue plastic. All right. All right. This is C. Oh, let's do something else. Instead of leaving this where, just like how we extruded this, let's do the same with this here. All right. That's for the tray. So, and we could let it line up exactly that using the same. Let me move this across using the same technique. Snap into the vertex. So if I tab into edit mode, Alt left click the edge there and press EZ and snap to that vertex here. Yeah. We can do the same thing across here. Alt left click. Let's see what's happening. Where is it? Difficult to see. Let's see what's happening. Right. Go inside. EZ and snap it to that vertex there. Right? You will notice though, and all of a sudden these became smooth, rounded. Easy fix. Easy fix. What do? We add these edges here. These edges. Did I get everything? Let me just make sure I got everything. Right? Yes. So make sure we get these edges. Turn off sub, right? Go into local view and see what we have there. Okay, good. So Alt left click these edges here. Alt shift to make sure we get all. Alt shift left click. Alt shift left click. Alt shift left click. And we can easily press N with the item and increase the bevel weight to 1. So we give this the same bevel weight. See that? So now that's fixed. Press N to get rid of the slash to go back out. That's fixed. And what I will fix the problem that we were seeing just now, we were just seeing the light was coming through. Yes, it was coming through there. The edges inside there, we were seeing the white paper below, but now it's fixed. This is really good. All right, this is really good. I can show you, let me show you quickly how to add the materials, right? So you notice it's not just a material, because there's some, these little, not imperfections, but little patterns, little dots inside there, right? Makes it look really nice. So we're going to add that, right, to make it a little interesting. Let me change this view. I like a different, let's see, if we could change it to, all right, let's change to that. And let's change the rotation right. All right, it's a little strong. All right. All right, so keep in mind we're in EV. All right, so those reflections. All right, so we're looking at this here. And you know what? Instead of looking at it through, we could zoom up all we want here. Let me go here. Yeah. So let's look at it here to see exactly what we're creating. Right. So what we want to do is press Shift A and add a texture of Voronoi. And this is going to give it some patterns. Now this is showing up like this because we added generated coordinates, and I say that because once nothing is plugged into the vector here of the texture, it automatically will be set generated coordinates. We press Shift A, input texture coordinate. If I plug this here, nothing changes. Same thing, that's what we've seen just now. If I switch it to object coordinates and then increase the scale, yes, everything is more uniform there. So we could use this for nice little circles. So what we could do is, because of our gradient circles, just want to clamp it using color ramp. We could use a number of things, but color ramp is a lot easier, and you'll see exactly what is happening when we increase or decrease the, see that? We could even change it to constant, and then yes, I could flip the color ramp. The opposite one happens. You see these white dots there. All right, we can make it even more. Set this to like 2000. See that? So that's how you will get in this sort of nice little pattern there. And keep in mind, we can change the color. There's a color ramp. As it is now, this is showing this black and white, but the color we had before was blue. So if I click on this black tab, just drag the blue here, and then click on the white tab, drag the blue here, but in this one, just increase or decrease the contrast, the saturation. It will be slightly different. Now when I plug this in here, you will notice very slightly, but let me decrease it a little more so you'll see. If I turn down the saturation, actually let me do it on the other one. I should turn down the saturation on this one, and in this other one here, turn it up and make it a little lighter. See that? See that? So there's this slight variation. It's very subtle, but it's there. It's very subtle, it's there. And if you want to add more of the dots, you could just dial this back. All right, but be careful. But according to what you want, really nice. But I want it really subtle, so I didn't want this to be a big difference here. Yes, it's just subtle. So you see, you know that something's going on, but not too much. It's not too distinct. All right, so that's that. So far, so good. All right, and what do we do now? Let's add now. Let's add those paper clips to make the scene a lot better, a lot more finished. This is the paper clip. Let's go into solid mode. Tab into, so let's create another collection for that. C, and name that paper clip. And pretty easy. Let's drag this across for now. When we add more things, you see how it adds to the scene and makes it look a lot more finished. Before we do that, let me just turn these knobs Yes, it doesn't look so uniform, right? I know that is for afterward, but just saw it one time, it was bugging me. All right, just so it wouldn't be too symmetrical. All right, so let's add this paper clip. Actually, we could just add this across there. So hold shift, right click. So whatever we add here is across here, right? So shift A. Let's first of all add our reference image. And where's that paper clip? Well, there it is. All right. So we will scale this down afterwards, of course. But for now, make it easier. So let's turn on the this, right? So let's add a plane, shift A, mesh plane, tab into edit mode, and let's scale this down like that. SY, UI, right? Let's go to vertex select now, move this across there, GX, and let me go to wireframe so that easy to see. All right, so GX, all right, and you need some more. All right, so this is, it starts from here. All right, so let's delete this one for now, right? X. All right, so let's go with GX, right? Goes up there, and EX, extrude that all the way here, right? EY down here, right? Then EX across here, EY, all right, EX, and finish off right there, all right? Now what we could do now is to line this up in the middle. So GY, move it around just in the middle, all right? And let's do the same with these two here. GY, go to the middle, and this one here, right? Let me see, GY with the middle. We're gonna add thickness. All right, let's select these. Control B, press Control B and press V, right? And press C to clamp and scroll our wheel all the way there. Left click. Select those two and do the same thing. Control B, V. Good. Select those two. Control B, V. Good. All right. Here to select everything. So we see that there. We're gonna tab out of edit mode. Right click. Convert to curve. And our curve now in our geometry. Go to where it says bevel, depth, hold shift, and just increase the depth. All right, just about there. All right, a little more to get the thickness. All right, good. And if you notice a little off, you could simply select one of them and GX. Right, if you want perfection. All right, but that's totally fine. It's perfect. It's good. All right, I know I'm saying that I'm still editing it. All right, that's good. That's good there. All right, this is a little off. Okay, let me select that. Select these here. Yes, these here. I could press GZ. All right, Control S to stay. You know what? I messed that up. So let's leave that. I could just leave it. I'm saying that I'm still editing it. Let me see GX. All right, that's good there. All right, so I'm out of edit mode. Let me right click and convert this back to mesh, right? And let's go back to solid view. And don't forget these edges here, the ends. Let me turn off the reference, right? So Alt left click, just press F, and then Control B and give it a nice bevel. Roll the mouse wheel to about 3. Right, let's do the same thing here. Alt left click, F, Control B, about just about that, right? And right click, it's smooth. You don't need to cut subdivision, but we can press Control 1, ISO sub D, right? There we have our paperclip, you know. So it's easy now in our scene, of course. Let me rename that paperclip, right? In our scene now, tap into edit mode, here select everything, scale it down, right? Let's move it across our scene. Of course, it's too big, so it's easy to see. The C there, right? Tap into edit mode, scale it down, right? And with up, right? GX, easy, sorry. And here what to do to make it easy. Put the origin point to the geometry and turn on now face snapping. So when you press G and cut Control, just snap it to the face of the height of the pen tray. Tap into edit mode, scale down. Now you're getting pretty much right, and the same thing. Snap it there to the face, right? Right, easy peasy. A little too large, yeah. Scale it down, snap it to face. Good. And let's give this another material. Give this a metal material. And turn the roughness all the way up. Alright, and yeah, 0.35 is good. Even 0.4. Right? And there we have our paperclip. And we could easily press Alt D and duplicate our paperclip around this scene, right? Easy peasy. Alright? Yeah? Very simple. And what we'll do as well to make our scene a little more complete, we're gonna join these together. So what I usually do is I create a backup first. So right click, select objects, and sorry, right click, let me undo that. Right click, duplicate collection, right? So there's our pen tree 001, and I move this to press M to a new, right click, select objects, M, move to a new collection, backup, right? And I turn this off. Good. So with this, hey, is it not there? Yes. Now one up to pen tree. Yes. What is this? Okay. Okay. See that. Right. So if I turn off pen tree, the backup is there. Good. I turn off backup, enable pen tree. Right. Good. So with our pen tree, we could simply select objects. All right. Don't forget we don't have the paperclip selected, but that's okay. And we could press Shift D. Right. And we can move this out here. I can press Shift D again and move this like here. Remember we looking at it our scene here, right? About here. That's how we had it just now in our image. All right. Yeah. Really simple. Really simple. And we could select this, right click, select objects, and we could move this accordingly. All right. Good. What will make it look very different is if we add new materials to this. So in this case, I want to add, click on this here, and let's name it something else, like probably orange plastic. And in this case now, we could simply change the colors, probably like that. All right, and do the same thing here. The same thing here. Change the colors. All right, let's do the same thing here. We could copy this, Control C. We can press Control V. Get rid of this. Right. Right. Hey. Ugh. We can give this the same orange plastic. Same thing here. Orange plastic. Right? Yeah. Keep in mind this is an EV, that's why it looks like that, right? And then we could give this one its own as well. We could delete that and change this to gray plastic. And as we change this now, we press backspace to reset everything. All right, that is good there. And then we could simply switch the others to gray plastic, right? The knobs to gray plastic. Easy, easy. Look how we already have our setup. Now if I go to rendered view, all right, let me show you how we're going to do this. We're actually going to use our ultimate strip box. All right, and I'm going to use one light and show you how simple it is with one light. So turn this all the strength all the way to, and open another tab there. Go to asset browser, and I have it there. It's node presets. Let me show you. So it's easy. Create a new collection, emit lights, right? And just drag it into the scene, all right? And I wanna rotate it. Press 3. Let's rotate it so that it's directional. All right, and probably like a nice angle like here. And this has to be large enough as it is. Let me turn off normalize. Did I turn on normalize? I remember, but it would be large enough. Just like about 1.2. And have the exposure up. Maybe I did. Right. Let me see in my previous what it is I had. How did I set up my lighting? It was very simple. Let me see how I set up the lighting here. I have this here. Do I have anything in this scene? Yes, I have a sky texture. Yes, a sky text. Turn this off. Sky text. No, I actually don't have this sky texture. Not even affecting this. Yeah. Okay, good. I just wanted to confirm that. It's simply that. And then I have this bounce card. Right? Easy. Let me switch back now. I have this set to 5, 1 for exposure, 1.5. Red set it. Alright. Alright. So open recent. Okay. So go back here. I have one. It has to be big and large. Right? Set this to 4 a bit. Right? The exposure is 1. And when the spread, set it to 20. Right? Nice. So you feel like a nice sunlight. Right? And rotate it about just about there. And if it's too close, just move this a bit here. Right? So to complete this now, because it's just one light here, but to really make this scene nice and bright, what we'll do, we simply add a bounce. So shift A, add a plane, right? And let me press shift S, cursor to select it, cursor to wall origin, and then just shift S and selection the cursor, right? Let's move this now. Let's press 3, side view, and let's rotate it. Rotate this here. I can't see, so I'm gonna just give it some thick, right? Let's press E, give it thickness. Let's move it back, right? And now we rotate this to fill some light there. If I turn off this, you see the difference. So this is still in some light. It makes the whole scene a lot different. I just let me turn it off, turn it on. I can even just bounce light. Right? And then we tweak the suit. Then we move this across here. See. Move this a little higher up. Yeah. Yes, the those shadows just a little bit more. Right? And I have my bounce. So that's creating that nice film, make the scene a lot better. And the camera is a bit too far out. I'm gonna zoom in this camera a little bit. Where is it? Let's zoom in the camera a little bit. I can press G, double tap Z. Let's move in a little bit. See that? Makes it a lot different. If I press G, Y, G, Z, sorry. Right. Yeah. Right now my settings here. Let me first of all let me change these paper clips. Let me move them across. Let me move them here. Across here. Right? And these knobs are the same, so we have to adjust these as well too. Alright. And let me change the settings. My color management. Set to none. And if I turn the gamma up, the exposure, not the exposure, just slightly. I usually set this to none and then adjust it in like Photoshop. But you can have it like medium high contrast and start to immediately see what's happening here. And what you'll do now is to adjust the colors. Now I just quickly added those colors there, but you want to look for some nice colors, right? Not too bright, not too bright. And oh, to make this plastic really sell the plastic effect, I forgot to turn this specular not all the way to 1 but like 0.9, right? Almost forgot that. And I did have the roughness like 0.4. Yes, and it sells that plastic effect a little more. You see the specular, you now see the glints a little better. Yes, if I turn off that, if I turn it down, you'll hardly see it. See? If I turn it up, you get the glints a little bit more. And what really sells this effect, and this one really sells this effect, is the computer starts to slow down. It's turning on depth of field in our camera. In our camera, turn on depth of field, and then in our viewport display, turn on limits so that we could see that yellow cross there. If we come down here and change this, you see focus distant. This actually changing where we focus in. So that really sells the scene. So you see wherever that is, that's where the plane of focus will be. Let me just back that up a bit. See that? This is now in focus now. And it's a little too much. If I put it like 5.6, a little better, or even F8. Right? Yeah. And that sells the scene a bit more. And if you find it's too bright, of course you can adjust this to suit. And as mentioned, I turn this off, I turn this to none, and then I adjust it in post, and that's where you'll get those nice, you could change the color, you could change the exposure and that sort of thing. And that's essentially how you'll be able to render this model and render this to get some really nice renders, especially if you're a beginner. You have something, if you press, let me show you the settings. So as mentioned, I leave it at 50 for that first render just as a test. All right. So let me enable, make sure the plane is that button is on. I forgot the pen. Nevertheless, for the sake of time, it's already going on. So the lights, everything is enabled. The bounce is enabled, right? The bounce light is enabled. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let me switch this back to 20. Okay, great. And now it looks a lot better. And let me move this. G double tap, say move it a bit further. Right. So go back to render settings. I have my sampling at 24 by default, but I set it to like 64, right? And then the output properties, I set it to 50. So if I press F12, I get a quick render. I see exactly what it looks like. Really nice. Really nice. If I see anything I need to adjust or change, I do that quickly. So then I set it to 100%. Then press F12. I get my full resolution render. And I can be able to import it. If you want to import it, edit it into another software. Let me show you how to do that. So when it's finished, you press image and save as, and you save it as whatever name. Change it without using any alpha. Change the RGB. I use color depth of 16. Save the image, and that's it. And then you bring it into the Photoshop or whatever. All right. So I really hope you learned something, and looking forward to creating more of these, especially if you're a beginner. All right. So see you next time.